In the midway of this life's journey, I found myself in a dark wood, for the straight way was lost. The path had vanished, leaving only a dense, lightless forest where fear itself took root. Weary and disoriented, I wandered until a figure emerged from the gloom, the shade of the great poet Virgil, sent to guide me on a path few mortals ever tread. Before us, wreathed in shadow and smoke, stood massive stone gates. Etched upon their surface were words of despair, a chilling welcome to a realm of eternal sorrow. Abandon all hope, ye who enter here. Our descent began in Limbo, the first circle. This was no place of fire, but a sorrowful, tranquil landscape dotted with classical ruins and noble statues. Here the virtuous pagans and unbaptized infants resided, their only punishment a perpetual, hopeless desire for a god they could never know. A gentle melancholy hung in the air, a quiet sigh that echoed through the fields of asphodel. We moved through the crowds of philosophers and heroes, their conversations hushed, their existence a testament to reason without faith. From this serene sadness we descended deeper into the true torments of the Inferno. A violent dark storm heralded our arrival in the second circle, the domain of lust. Here souls were not punished by fire, but by an eternal, furious wind. They were swept up in a chaotic whirlwind, tossed and turned without rest, just as they had allowed themselves to be swept away by their passions in life. The air was filled with their mournful cries as they were forever buffeted against one another in the dark, tempestuous air. We pressed onward, the wind tearing at our clothes, and found ourselves in the putrid mire of the third circle, gluttony. A perpetual cold and heavy rain fell upon a desolate, muddy wasteland. Souls lay half-buried in the muck, tormented by the monstrous three-headed dog Cerberus, who tore at them with his claws and teeth, a fitting end for those who had lived only for consumption. The fourth circle was the realm of greed, where two groups of souls were locked in an endless, pointless struggle. Those who hoarded wealth and those who squandered it were condemned to the same fate. They pushed great, heavy weights in semicircles, clashing and cursing each other at the midpoint, before turning to begin their futile labor anew. Their earthly obsession with material gain was now their eternal, back-breaking toil. Following this grim spectacle, we came to the river Styx, which formed the fifth circle, a swampy marsh where the wrathful tore each other apart in the muddy water, and the sullen lay submerged beneath, their silent anger bubbling to the surface. Deeper still, we crossed a river of boiling blood, the Phlegethon, where the violent were immersed to depths corresponding to their guilt. Centaurs patrolled the banks, shooting arrows at any who tried to rise above their designated level. The final circles plunged us into the domain of pure malice. We navigated the bizarre and unsettling landscapes of fraud, the eighth circle, a place of 10 distinct rocky ditches known as the Malabolge. Each ditch contained a different type of deceiver, subjected to grotesque and fitting punishments, from being whipped by demons to being submerged in boiling pitch. The architecture itself was a twisted mockery of reason, with bizarre structures and distorted perspectives designed to disorient and deceive. At last, we reached the ninth and final circle, the pit of treachery. This was not a realm of fire, but its absolute opposite, a vast, silent, and frozen wasteland. Here, sinners were trapped in the ice of the lake Cocytus, their bodies contorted and their tears freezing their eyes shut. This was the punishment for those who had betrayed their loved ones, their country, or their benefactors, an eternity of cold, isolated immobility. At the very heart of this frozen wasteland, we saw him, Lucifer, the ultimate traitor, trapped waist-deep in the ice. His 3 faces wept bloody tears as his 6 great wings beat, generating the frigid wind that froze the entire realm. He was the epicenter of all evil, the symbol of absolute coldness and the absence of God's love. As we passed this monstrous sight, our journey through damnation reached its end. We climbed upward, moving from the frozen landscape into absolute darkness. The oppressive silence of hell faded behind us, and as we ascended through a narrow passage, a single, faint point of light appeared above, a glimmer of hope, a promise of the stars, and an escape from the eternal night.